The Media Research Center launched in 1987 when less than 25% of Americans believed the news media had a liberal bias. The MRC's relentless efforts to document, expose, and neutralize that bias have turned the tide. Today, nearly 9 in 10 Americans believe there is a definite bias in the liberal media. The Media Research Center's 3 news analysis divisions provide comprehensive and ongoing analysis of liberal bias in the press. Newsbusters.org, one of the net's most popular blogs, documents the daily lies and distortions of the national press. With reporters in the Capitol, the White House, and around the world, the MRC CNSnews.com newswire covers the stories and asks the tough questions that so-called mainstream journalists ignore. Through the MRC Action Team, the Media Research Center empowers an army of 500,000 grassroots activists to fight back against the liberal media's dangerous agenda for America. Rush Limbaugh, one of the countless radio hosts who uses MRC analysis in his daily show prep, has called the MRC a most precious commodity and a vital national interest. The Media Research Center truly is America's media watchdog.
Good evening. I'm Brent Bozell, the president of the Media Research Center. It's a real pleasure to be with so many friends and fellow freedom lovers via this great event. Never before have I been more thrilled by the beautiful sound of the voice of the people. What you all have done this past year with your tea parties and your town halls, your calls and your mails, your letters and your faxes has been truly remarkable. Unbelievable even, had I not watched it happen day after day after day. Your rising against the outrageousness of Washington and the liberal media has done more to hearten me and all your fellow Americans who believe in truth and liberty than I dreamed possible back in January of 2009. I applaud and salute every one of you. But we must be realistic. As we saw in last week's State of the Union address, our work has only just begun. President Barack Obama chose to double down on his radical agenda in outright defiance of the expressed desire of we the people. Not that the left-wing so-called news media reported it that way, of course. They covered President Obama's speech the same way they've covered everything he's done ever since he appeared on the national scene several years ago, fawningly, slavishly, worshipfully. They have not just accentuated his positives when they needed to, they've invented them. And they absolutely refuse to report his many failings until forced to do so, and then only to defend him. The left-wing news media are wholly invested in this administration. They are his most powerful allies. The fact that you're exercising your First Amendment rights in speaking out against the media's cheerleading of this relentless charge toward socialism has been just another sore point for these so-called journalists. They have impugned and ridiculed you with the vilest form of guttural, grade school insults and homosexual taunts. But here you stand, stronger than ever, ready to press forward. Your dedication to truth and our founding principles in the face of the liberal media's assaults against you is heartening to me, as it is vital to the preservation of this great nation. To my friend Herman Cain, thank you for leading this effort to put this outstanding webcast together. And thanks most of all to you on the other end of these lines for all you've done. And please keep it up. Be of good cheer. We are winning, and the liberals inside and outside the media know it. Truth and freedom, with a smile, will win every time. We will persevere in this crucial moment in time. Thank you.
I love your optimism. What gives you that optimism in the midst of all of this stuff that we're being faced with?
Because I don't believe what the liberal media tell me. Look, the liberal media have been telling us for 2 years that conservatism is out of vogue. Here's something they'll never tell you. Do you know that America is 50% more conservative today, self-identified, than when Ronald Reagan was president?
Wow.
They tell us that Fox is a terrible nation. Do you know that Fox, the Fox News Channel, is now the most respected network on television? They attack conservative talk radio. It continues to grow. Liberal Air America just went out of business.
Right.
They may control the institutions, Herman. The American people are on our side, and that's why we should be optimistic.
One of the questions I get asked a lot is, why is the mainstream broadcast media so liberal?
Because it is a safe haven for them. They gravitate to academia, they gravitate to the entertainment industry, they gravitate to the news media. They see the news media as a way of changing the world. They're not there to report news. That has nothing to do with their jobs. Yeah. Their job is to change the world, and they use the news media to do that. We have to look at them and understand that what we're getting from ABC and NBC and MSNBC is not news. Right. It's reporters' opinions. But you know what? 89% of the American people believe what they're getting today is bias, not objective truth.
But a lot of people are waking up and that they're able to see the bias because, as you mentioned, they are getting more blatant with the bias in some of these.
Well, when people wake up and turn on the news and they're attacked personally.
Yes.
When you turn on, when you exercise your freedom to speak in a rally, and people insult you, anchors and networks insult you personally, yes, because you exercise your free speech. People have had enough of that.
Yeah, they had enough of it. And you were a young man when you started this, right?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Thanks a lot, Brett. Thanks for being here tonight.
The State of the Union, the voice of the people. This has been a presentation by the Hardage Company and TvTownhall.com.